further ado, Cat Lim.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
You know, people ask me all the time, Kat, you're a designer, you're a comedian, you're a musician. How do you do it all? My secret? Be 5 to 10 minutes late to everything. Harness! And then, when you do finally show up, make a very big, distracting entrance so that everyone forgets how late you are. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Hello. I press the big button? Okay. The side buttons. Oh, the side button. Okay. Okay, real quick, write this down. Write the answer to this.
On your phone.
Anywhere. If you could jump into a different career, hobby, lifestyle tomorrow, what would it be? Don't overthink it. You have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. I hope you wrote it down. So, thank you. Oh, I mean, you know, it's not easy doing your own stunts. Is this good? All right. Hello again. So as I was saying, shout out to the Roundhouse team, our production village back there. As I was saying, I'm a creative designer, a comedian, and a musician. That's my band X Appeal. And did I grow up thinking that I was going to be all these things? Did I have a grand vision for my life? No. The answer is no. I didn't have this grand vision of what I was going to be doing, my career. And I think there's a lot of pressure to be able to have this vision of your life, theme title drop. There's a lot of pressure to know what it is you're supposed to do with your life and what your passions are. But here's the thing, you don't have to know in order to start moving in that direction. And in fact, my own life path started with what I could not see for myself. So I know we're limited on time, so I'm just gonna fast forward to the important part. Here's my parents before I was born. Oh, nope, here we go. Projector. There we go. Here are my parents before I was born. They're in the Philippines. My dad is actually in physical therapy school, trying to get his degree. My mom is a physical therapist and a physician practicing in the Philippines. So at this time, the US recruited physical therapists outside from other countries. They were in need of it, so that's where they recruited people from other countries. And my mom made the cut. So Tulsa, Oklahoma, it was going to be. She was going to be able to start working there as a physical therapist. Conveniently, she was also pregnant with me at the time. And actually, she was pregnant with me 7 months in. 7 months in. And unfortunately, if my mom was going to take this opportunity, she was going to have to leave behind her husband while he finished his physical therapy degree. And she was going to have to come to the US alone, 7 months pregnant, and with $75 in her pocket. She did it anyways, and a couple months later, there's me, I was born. April 5th, 1991. So she gave birth to me, and the only other person around was my Lola, my dad's mom, and that's it. That was it. After a whopping 2 weeks of maternity leave, my mom went back to work, and a few months later, my Lola and I moved back to the Philippines to live with my dad and the rest of my family while my mom continued working. So about a year or so later of that, in 1993, my mom reunited with us in the Philippines, and the three of us went back to the US together so that they could build their lives in this country. Today, both of my parents are practicing physicians in the United States. Yes. Yes. Oh, I almost forgot. There's my brother. I felt bad for leaving him out. So, but they did it. So they were able to, working in healthcare was what allowed them to immigrate to this country. It is what allowed them to prosper in a country 9,000 miles from home. So, yeah, you could probably guess there's a lot of pressure to work in healthcare. That was me in 8th grade, just contemplating life. I mean, there was a pressure to work in healthcare because it was stable, and I couldn't let their hard work and all their sacrifices go in vain. So there I was, in college, biomedical sciences student at the University of South Florida, honors college, cramming for organic chemistry, studying, failing, excelling, stressing, caffeinated, and not getting distracted by all of my creative outlets. Because since high school, I loved two things. I loved graphic design. There I am in the yearbook club, up there. I loved graphic design, and I loved making funny videos. I was an aspiring YouTuber back in the day, actually only a couple years after YouTube even launched. But I was going to have to put that aside because medicine was my future. So I studied and studied and pulled all-nighters, but little did I know that all of those nights of studying, all those nights of cramming would mean nothing. Nothing. Because junior year of my college career, I got a job as a student graphic designer for the USF Housing Department. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, is this real life? It was only supposed to be a 10 hours a week gig, but it quickly led to a life-altering realization. I couldn't picture myself being a doctor. I just couldn't picture it. And at this point, I had been in this job for about a year. Graduation was that semester. I had taken the MCAT twice. I was literally applying to medical schools, hoping I wouldn't get in. And I realized I couldn't picture it. And in fact, to this day, I still can't picture myself as a doctor. So I actually need the help of AI to imagine it. So here I am. And it kind of looks like me if you like squint and then move your head and you're like a little racist. It's me. But just like these images, like I can see my face on that doctor body, but it doesn't feel like me. I feel very disconnected from this image. Whereas with graphic design, I could picture myself doing this. I could picture myself having this career in design, and I couldn't believe that I was getting paid to do it. We have a problem. But despite this doubt, I went ahead and graduated, summa cum laude, with a degree in biomedical sciences and with honors. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. But I knew that I wasn't going to do anything with that degree. I knew of that semester that I wasn't going to pursue it, so I asked my boss at housing, can I keep this job, please, after I graduate? He loved the idea, so he stuck with it. My parents, not so much. In fact, they freaked out in the kitchen. They were like, okay, So you don't want to be a doctor, all right. What about dentistry? Huh? What about dentistry? It's the same thing. And despite all the jokes, it was a very difficult time because I had to trust myself I had to trust in my skills. I had to trust that I had enough skills to actually make this into a career. I had to trust my vision for myself, what I could see for myself. And even though I wasn't going down the path that my parents had intended for me to become a doctor, I still felt that failure was not an option because I refused to let all their sacrifices and all their hard work go to vain. And seeing this now, I realize that I could have given myself a little bit more grace, but that was my mindset at the time. So this decision led to an 11-year-long career in graphic design and marketing. Without any formal design education, I worked myself up from student graphic designer to full-time designer and to eventually creative director. Thank you. I worked on packaging, I worked on logos and websites and buses and billboards and bikes, everything. I also worked through client requests from hell, office politics, and a lot of imposter syndrome. And what got me through the imposter syndrome were my mentors. So my mentor from housing, my boss, who saw the potential in me and gave me the opportunity to work as a professional designer. Mike Nolasco, my creative director at USF, who taught me skills and really made me feel like a legit designer. But my mentors also included my peers, like Maureen Horan over there. Yes, she was my coworker, and she always shared everything she knew. If I said, "Oh, that lettering looks cool," she's like, "Let me show you the brush pens I used for it." So through that, I was able to work through this imposter syndrome, and I was starting to feel like a real designer. And in fact, I saw myself then grow from mentee to mentor, training interns and young designers, and I ended up actually becoming no! Spoilers! Okay. I ended up becoming an adjunct professor for USF's St. Pete graphic design program. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Again, worked through a lot of imposter syndrome. I talked to my therapist about these insecurities I had as an educator, and she said, "Okay, well, think about how do you want to be remembered by your students?" Okay, I didn't realize that I didn't have to fit into this idea of what a design professor was. I could mold it into what I thought was right and what I felt was important to a designer's education. So through all these years, I was doing it. I was a designer, and my parents even saw that, okay, she's able to make a living. They supported my decision. And everything was great, felt so fulfilled in life. End of the presentation. Just kidding. No. Now, during this whole career, I realized that a lot of my favorite marketing ideas all started with, wouldn't it be funny if? In fact, realization happened, which you'll see soon, the next slide. But as I was realizing that I love being able to work in my sense of humor into the marketing pieces that we're doing. So whether it was funny social media ideas or funny slogans for t-shirts or It works when you kick. Oh no! I kicked too hard. Some of my favorite aspects of working in this creative industry was the social media ideas, things like that, but it was also being able to dress up for Halloween at the office. Can you guys guess what I am? A donkey. A donkey. No. She doesn't have her glasses on, people. No, I'm obviously $1 Million Baby Yoda. Jeez. But, yeah, so it just kept happening, though. Like, I loved coming up with funny ideas. And June 2nd, 2017 was actually that realization of most of my marketing ideas start off with wouldn't it be funny if? And I just couldn't I kept that little inner YouTuber was still in me, I guess. So in 2018, I started taking improv classes to kind of channel all this energy. And I became obsessed. Kick? I quickly became, oh no. The kick actually works, guys. Oh, I needed one more, this way. Okay. I quickly became obsessed with improv while I was at American Stage. So I loved it. Improv made me feel alive. It gave me, I remember just laughing so hard and just even feeling high from all the laughter and what I was learning in improv class. But I stayed focused on my career as a creative director. I stayed focused on that while still enriching this performer comedy side. So, doing all this comedy reminded me of the videos I used to make in high school and college and even at USF Housing. I'm in a washing machine, if you can't tell, or a dryer. But throughout this time, while I was working full-time in an agency, I was in sketch videos, I was on improv teams, I was in a play, I was in funny podcasts about marketing. And I kept kind of rising through the ranks in this agency. And then one day, after I had established a design team, things were going great, the owner of the agency turned to me and she asked me, let's see if this works, hold on. Yes. What do you want to focus on? You're the creative director now. You can call the shots. What do you want to focus on? And that question was really hard to answer. I had been at the agency for about 5 years at this point, just doing whatever had to be done. I didn't really think about what it is that I wanted to do. And it was that familiar feeling again of not being able to envision the future. It seemed really familiar, like back in the day. And the more that I thought about it, the more that I just kept coming back to how much I loved comedy, how much I loved writing comedy, how much I loved making people laugh. And so I went to my journal, because at that time I felt very isolated. I didn't know who else to talk to about this. Journaling really helped me vent out my feelings, because a lot of times it's like we have to talk to ourselves in order to actually listen to ourselves. So I was journaling all of these conflicting feelings, and this is the only slide I'm going to actually read text off of, I promise. This was December 7th, 2020. I wrote in my journal. On another note, I'm so excited about comedy. Sketch comedy is my favorite, specifically comedy writing. Inside, I know I want my future to be in comedy in some form. Realistically, I don't think I have the right to want something like that. I've already achieved a career that was/seemed out of reach. How much more can I expect in life? At the same time, making jokes and funny videos have been a part of my life for a long time, just like design and art. To be honest with you, I felt stupid. It felt stupid to finally achieve this design career that was once a pie-in-the-sky dream. And now I want to make jokes? Are you serious? I just kept coming back to, I can't want any more in my life. So I went to my therapist, shout out to Dr. Tarbox, and I talked to her about these feelings. I finally admitted to myself that I want to be a comedian, and nobody could know. So nobody could know that I wanted to be out there in front of people. So I talked to my therapist about it and explained the whole thing, and she said, well, all jobs are important. What? Excuse me? She's not calling me crazy, and she's not saying that this path is ridiculous. Okay, I didn't think of it that way. Then the next person I told, this took a very long time to actually communicate, but the next person I told was Maureen. I told her, I really want to be a comedian, but I feel bad because, I have this other career. And she told me, well, maybe, design is what brought you to St. Pete so that you could then transition to comedy. It's okay to move from one dream to another. I hadn't thought of it like that either. So then the next person I had to tell was the most logical, practical person I know in my whole life, my husband, Matt. We love Matt. And I sat him down and I said, listen, I want to be a professional comedian. And he said, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then you're going to have to spread out and perform for wider audiences. What a logical answer. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a comedian. Oh my God. So about 2.5 years after writing this in my journal, I resigned from my creative director job at the agency to start freelancing. That way I could focus more on performing on the side. So in my first year of freelancing, I participated in a play reading by a Filipino-American playwright at American Stage. I starred in a short film called It's Insufficient Funds that won Best Short Film at the Green Light Short Film Competition. Thank you. I performed stand-up at the Omaha Comedy Festival. I was in a fashion show, and I did tons of comedy shows, including me in drag right there for Pride. And in addition to this, I also produced my very first stand-up comedy act, solo comedy act. It works with the kick. This is my first solo comedy show. It's called Cat Lim's Deepest, Darkest Secrets. And I performed it at the Tampa Fringe Festival. It was 30 minutes long. There were 15 people in the room. And actually, 15 people was the max number allowed. So I sold out, baby. Every time. But I loved it. I was freaking hooked. It was confirmation that I loved every bit of comedy. I loved coming up with the idea, writing it down, actually remembering to write it down, going back, editing it, writing it, performing it, going back, editing it, and repeat. I loved every bit of the process. And at this show, too, my parents came to the show. They didn't tell me they were coming beforehand until literally the show was about to start. My mom was like, where do we park? And I'm like, it's sold out, Mom. She's like, we already got tickets. But they came, they laughed, they enjoyed it, and my mom said I was a natural. Is this real life? I couldn't believe it. So I had to do it again. So June of this year, I wrote, produced, and performed another solo comedy show called Cat Lim and American Darling. So this show is 45 minutes long, a bigger room, also at the Tampa Fringe Festival, and it really kind of explored my issues with people pleasing and all the whole wellness mental health journey I've been taking. So it was deeply personal to me, and it was just amazing to be able to put it out there. And I was also on the cover of Creative Loafing for my show. Thank you. And then a couple months later, the show was recognized as Best Laugh Until Your Face Hurts, Cat Lim's American Darling. Thank you. Thank you. This is part of Creative Loafing's Best of the Bay. So, again, it was a feeling of confirmation. I had to trust myself that this vision, this feeling that I had, even though maybe I couldn't see it, I could feel it, that it was going to be worth it. And having to let go of whether it was my design degree or this creative director career title that I had worked so hard to achieve, being able to let go of that was such an important step in order to realize this vision for myself. And the thing is, after doing all of this, my vision for my life has just never been clearer. This is what I want to do. Comedy is what makes me feel alive, and it feels so special. It has a special energy to it. And if you're going to take anything from this talk, I want you to know that we are all capable of being our own visionaries. Yes. And just like Creative Mornings says, everyone is creative, everyone is welcome, everyone is a visionary. Yes. And just like creativity, you just have to be open to it. You have to be open to maybe a path that you didn't see for yourself, but inside your body's telling you that this is what you need to do. So I have some tips. One, how to unlock your inner visionary. Stop denying your dreams, okay? Stop denying it. It took me a long time to just actually confront the fact that comedy is what I wanted to do and not being ashamed of it. So whatever you wrote down, there's a reason why you wrote that thing down. Maybe it was a new career. Maybe it was you wanted to jump back into bed. That's fine. This event's really early. But at the end of the day, there's still a reason for it. So pay attention to that. Two, know yourself better. Find a therapist. Find a mentor. Remember, your friends can be some of your biggest mentors. I realized deep in my design career that all of the people that I look up to, all my heroes, are comedians. So ask yourself, who do you look up to? Maybe there's a pattern there. And an important thing to remember is surround yourself with your people. People who get the vision, people who will support you. 3, get to know your passions. So a lot of people, they don't know what the thing is that they should do. They don't know what they like. They don't know what their passions are. But I have a feeling that you actually do. I remember on my way to work, on my way to my design job, I would think of a funny idea for a tweet, and I would obsess over it, just trying to get the wording just right so it was as funny as possible. Didn't know that maybe there's a line that's a comedy writing. At the time, I was just writing a tweet for 3 people to like max. I didn't know that there was, anything behind it. And even back in my high school days, I remember seeing my friend Zanga. He had Comic Sans in it, and it made me feel nauseous. So walking around campus and mentally fixing all the flyers. There were signs the entire time that I was a creative at heart, I was a designer at heart, I was a comedian at heart. It's just I wasn't paying attention to these compulsions and these things in my head and these feelings that I was having. I wasn't listening to that. So get to know your passions. What do you daydream about? What annoys your family and your friends? To me, I personally think if you're truly passionate about something, your family is sick of hearing about it, okay? So get to know your passions and visualize. Visualization is such a powerful tool in manifestation. Say it with me, manifestation. But it's true. So what I like to do is I like to just drive around, listening to music, and just letting my mind wander. Letting your mind wander is so important to the creative process. You just have to let your brain relax and see where it goes and see where you naturally start thinking, what you naturally start thinking about. And what keeps you up at night. Think about those things. You can also create a vision board. So that's when you take photos, magazine clippings, whatever, and then put them on a board so that you can actually see it every day. So you have a reminder every day of what your dream is. Or you can do what I do, and it's visualize your deathbed every day. Shout out to Alyssa Hopkins, last month's speaker. Just think about dying. Think about how you would feel on your deathbed. I'm also reminded of Kathleen Taylor. She was a Creative Morning speaker exactly 6 years and 1 day ago. And her message at her Creative Morning speech was that we're all going to die. So just do it. Why not? Dress up like a son to your big, important talk that will be recorded for the internet. Just do it. Why not? We're all going to die. Visualize. Use AI if you have to visualize your deathbed. That's fine. And lastly, be okay with moving on. Like I said before, I moved on from a design degree, a biomedical science degree. I moved away from this creative director title, this agency leadership role, but I moved on knowing that despite all of that time that I put into learning how to manage, learning how to run an office, learning how to design, that all those skills would still be part of me. That's what my therapist said. You're not a different person. You're not completely starting over. You're just starting a new chapter. So you're still who you are. Yes, woo! You're still who you are. And the future that you, as long as you keep listening to that inner visionary, you're going to find a path that is more aligned with who you actually are. So I'm going to leave you with this. I was looking through my old stuff, and I found my notebook from like high school. It has Lizzie McGuire stuff on it, so it's actually probably middle school. And I found my old bucket list that I wrote my senior year of high school. Maybe I have to be over here. So on my bucket list, you know, I had things like clubbing, wear a beret correctly in public. Still haven't done that. Teach a child how to read. But as I kept reading, I noticed a couple things. Oh, wait, I have to go back here. 40, learn how to play the bass well. Which to me, I think that's hilarious. They didn't know how to play the bass at all in high school. But I'm like, you're going to learn how to play it, and you're going to play it well. And 35, put together an original stand-up comedy act. Thank you. So it looks like I did have a little bit of a vision for myself this entire time. So please write down what you want to do. Just write it down and see it come to life. Thank you, guys.
We are so lucky to have Kat. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are going to have time for questions. So, yeah. So we do have time for questions. I do want to say it was just incredibly, I think these last 2 months, the themes, I don't choose the themes. The themes are a global thing. So like the last month's being reflection. Again, shout out to Alyssa Hopkins, who's in the crowd right now. Woo! Yes. And Jesse as well. We have speakers in the crowd, y'all. And so the fact that last month was reflection coming out of the hurricanes. This month is vision, like looking forward. It's just so timely. And just thank you so much to you both for like being flexible and really bringing some thoughtful discussions. I remember the first time I ever went to a Creative Mornings. Kat Lim has been an OG since 2017 as well. I saw Tara Siegel up here, and literally the first thought I ever had was, how do I get up there? How do I be that person that's standing up at the front of this event, just trying to be cool and funny and like get this group of people together? And I never would have thought that sitting in Kava Grassroots with Tara Siegel at a Billy Mays event, that she would turn to me and say, I kind of can't do this anymore, and we need someone to be the host. And that I would immediately, out of my mouth, just involuntarily say, yes, me, choose me. And here I am. So it just goes to show visualization truly is, it brings it all to life. But that all to be said, who has a question? Yeah, oh, fantastic. All right, so we're going to go Eileen, then we'll go to you.
I'm going to pat my...
What's next?
What's next? Oh, I forgot that I had this on. What's next? I want to take this show, build it out to an hour, and potentially do it at more places. So that's next goal. And I'm just wanting to collaborate more with some really funny, creative folks in the community. So really just looking for people, a comedy partner, a comedy group, because I think all my favorite comedians, they have partners that they work with, and I know that you're just able to make something even more awesome when you're with other people who are like-minded. So that is very much the next thing on my mind, is diving into a new project.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Jeff. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So first of all, salute to you for sharing yourself with the group this morning.
Thank you.
Relate to a lot of the experiences that you shared. My question is, I think that part of the thing that's really significant about your story is the moments where you've had to overcome diversity in order to arrive at your vision, right? And I think we all go through that. For me, it's having experienced very significant levels of loss and grief. And the thing that I've noticed about that is that what also comes with that are very sharp moments of clarity, where the things that you've been working towards your whole life, that vision comes into focus. But then it's like, oh man, what do I do with this feeling? You know? So what do you do, and what would you recommend to others as a means to bottle that feeling up so you don't waste it all in one shot?
Thank you. So I would say start with just, first of all, writing it down so you can get all your feelings out. Am I feeling anxiety? Am I feeling sort of push to go into a different direction? So just get it out, either writing it down in a journal. Some people, they can't have a therapist, so journal, that helps. Talk with friends. And then that way they can share. A lot of times we have perspectives and solutions that we wouldn't have thought of ourselves. So that's why it's so important to have those community of supporters. So then once you have that, you can hopefully narrow down what it is, like what would be a good next step. Because don't try to conquer everything, conquer all your dreams all at once. You have your whole life before you die, your whole life to do it. So I would say take it a step at a time, but talk to your people first and see what makes sense. Thank you.
Do we got another question? We can take like one or two more. Oh, yeah, up here.
Hi, Kat. I love you.
Hi, I love you back.
Hi, I'm Loella, everybody. Nice to meet you all. So you are so awesome because you do all of these things. So my question is, how do you manage your time juggling all your various interests?
Well, definitely being 5 to 10 minutes late to everything helps. That's an actual real tip. No, I'm just kidding. You have to, I don't know, I kind of hate this word, prioritize. So like, prioritize, you have to just gotta be real specific and kind of ruthless with how you prioritize, how severely you're Google calendaring, because you can't, like, for example, you might have some work obligations, but you also have this opportunity to perform or something. What will potentially lead you to the next important thing that is more aligned with what you have this grand vision that you have? So sometimes a priority is making money. Sometimes a priority is getting you closer to that dream. So it's just really being ruthless about priorities. And I learned this the hard way. You have to rest. You have to do it. You have to work into your priority list. Because making sure that you are able to be as creative as you possibly can. And it's hard to do that when you're delirious and sleepy. So, yes.
One last question. Oh! Coming.
Good morning. I'm Monica, everyone. I wanted to ask if you could go back and look at USF Cat with all those stacks and stacks of biomedical books. Yeah. What would you say to her? What advice would you give her?
So I would tell her that you should just go to Ultra in Miami. Like, don't worry about that exam. It's not gonna matter, just go. And also, I do wish that I had been in the design community earlier, because I feel like, again, it goes back to that community that you have. It helps with finding opportunities. It helps with your own skills. So I do wish I could go back and just start my design career earlier, and my comedy career earlier, just starting earlier. But at the end of the day, we can't go back. And also tell myself, like, hey, relax. Like, you're gonna be fine, and it's just a test. You don't have to worry. I should have chose option C, like, don't worry about that. Life's too short.
All right, y'all. Kat's going to stick around, so if you have more questions, please stay and chat with her and see her at our next Creative Mornings, which is what I'm about to plug. So.
Oh, yes.
No. You can stay up here. Thank you. She deserves an applause. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.